Sandeep Shastri, National Coordinator at Lokniti Network. I have R.K. Upadhyay, one of the senior most journalists out of Karnataka. I have Nagarjun Dwarkanath, he leads our coverage from Bangalore. I have Amitabh Tiwari joining us, one of our top political experts. And for perspective from the parties, I have Bhaskar Rao, Chief Spokesperson of the Karnataka BJP, and I have Shatabish Shivana, he's the spokesperson of the Karnataka Pradesh Congress Committee. Sandeep Shastri, you heard what Santosh Lad said and did not say. Leave all that aside. Explain to our viewers watching and are confused, what if this report goes through in the way that it's been made public, what impact does it have on the next Karnataka elections?
Rahul, that if is a very big if with a capital I and capital F, given the fact that there is dissension within the Congress on this. But if this were to go through, I think it is going to change the contours of politics in this state. Because the Lingayats and Vokkaligas together have always constituted more than half the MLAs of the country. And the fact that the report says that the relative strength of these communities is much lower than what was anticipated and what was projected, and that the other backward castes are much larger in number, would alter the whole projections that are made by politicians, by political parties about the relative strength of various parties.
Given the massive effect this can have on Karnataka politics, explain the timing in your view. Why is Siddaramaiah opening a Pandora's box at this moment?
Now, I think it's very clear. Siddaramaiah, like Devarajars in the past, is representative of backward caste politics. And traditionally, the Lingayats and Vokkaligas have always been categorized as backward castes. And whenever there was a move by a backward caste community to remove either one or both of them, there was strong opposition and it was not allowed, even when it was an attempted to. Now, this report now would automatically place within the backward castes the Lingayats and Vokkaligas as a very small proportion, and the whole talk of there being dominant backward caste would then get sidelined. So that, I think, is the impact. And as you very rightly said, Siddaramaiah sees himself as a spokesperson of the other backward caste, and he has been an Ahinda leader, and this is an opportune moment for him to make that point and see that role that he believes he can play. And also it reflects the internal dynamics within the Congress party, the effort of Shiv Kumar to claim that half the term belonged to him, and that politics is also very clearly visible. Let's remember, both the Lingayats and the Vokkaligas have a significant presence both in the Congress and in the BJP. And I will not be surprised if they cut across party lines to be able to come together on this issue.
Absolutely.
To defend their interests.
A political enemy's enemy is a friend, and therefore if their interests are impacted, they are likely to come together. Nagarjun Dwarkanath, ahead of the cabinet meeting, you've been working the phone lines, speaking to a cross-section of ministers and voices who matter. What, according to you, is most likely to happen when that cabinet meeting happens?
Well, the cabinet is completely divided, Rahul. If you speak to them off record, all the forward caste, Lingayats and Vokkaligas, and even including few OBCs are not happy with them. The main criteria is that we are underrepresented. Lingayats are completely spread over Karnataka from Bidar to Chamarajanagar. They feel that how could we be just 66 lakhs across Karnataka? We are such presence in all districts, all constituency. Out of 224, 115 to 120, they are deciding factors. So 7 Lingayat ministers will oppose the caste report tomorrow and urge the chief minister to resurvey. And also, for all practical reasons, this is a 10-year-old survey. So it doesn't serve the purpose. The population has grown across the state. And let's do it like Telangana is what one of the minister will be suggesting to chief minister. Give it 90 more days. Let's call for a new survey. Will be the suggestion. Hopefully, the cabinet will agree to it. Most likely, what we are told is the cabinet will accept this report, but also call for a fresh census to be done.
What is Siddaramaiah likely to do? Because this report actually suits him. It's anti-Shiv Kumar's community, the Vokkaligas in some senses, but actually suits Siddaramaiah's agenda.
Well, that's true. His ideology is always Ahinda, right? He stood for these OBCs and minorities and backward castes. It really does suit him. And also, in a larger perspective, Rahul, if at all by December, if he gets removed after the 2.5 year or 10 years, it's going to be very difficult for the High Command because the Dalits, the Muslims and the backwards would solidly consolidate behind Siddaramaiah because he's the one who showed the guts to put out these numbers after 10 years. The previous coalition government, previous BJP government sat on it, but now the time is up for Siddaramaiah and he's put it out. It's also one upmanship if you read between the lines.
Thank you very much, Nagarjun, for joining us. R.K. Upadhyay, there have been some reports to say because Rahul Gandhi praised Revanth Reddy publicly, therefore Siddaramaiah has come out and put this report out. Could that be true, or is that just a very juvenile, superficial way of looking at this? What explains the timing? He's been talking about making this public for a while. Why now? You're on mute. Yeah, go on.
A lot of pressure on various fronts that we see in Karnataka, increased prices across the board, whether it's water, electricity, bus rates, whatever it is. And then he's also under pressure because of the Pune case, which is still alive. And all these issues have come to the fore, and he has brought out a report which is more than a decade old. And there have been so many complaints about this report itself. The credibility of the report itself is in question because lakhs of people have said nobody came to our house during the survey. So, there have been umpteen complaints regarding this. So, whereas the minister claims 94% of the population was surveyed on that. But then, what did you do for all this while? Why now? Why have you brought it out? And then, what about the figures? The number of, the cost figures that have been given, way beyond what anybody can accept.
Sure.
Lingayat is given at 66 lakhs, and Vokkaliga is at 61 lakhs. And each one of them have been, people have come.
Okay, Amitabh Tiwari, with you I want to focus on the impact a report of this nature with findings of this nature, which is what Rahul Gandhi is also suggesting, that the OBCs are underrepresented politically, that their numbers are actually much bigger than what conventional political wisdom suggests. So if these reports come out in other states, as an aggregate, what's the impact on national politics?
So clearly, on a short-term basis, this is likely to have a ripple effect in the Karnataka Assembly as well as for the Karnataka government, because after a significantly long time, the Congress party was able to woo back a section of the Lingayats and also the Vokkaligas. Now at the national politics, if you see, now 2 of the 3 states of the Congress party in power have released or will have released the caste census report. 1 state under NDA has already released, which is Bihar. So now there will be pressure on other governments, and the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi will try to force BJP to do a caste census, or they will raise this point each and time again that caste census is going to be the main plank of the Congress party. However, that has repercussions for the government itself. He was speaking to the Karnataka government spokespersons. The Congress MLAs and ministers themselves are asking the report to be judged.
No, but let's take it one step further. We are only imagining a negative impact, but hypothetically, if the OBCs consolidate because they feel that Rahul Gandhi and the Congress has given them a larger say in politics, then even if the Lingayats and the Vokkaligas turn against you, isn't it to the advantage of the Congress in its current state?
See, essentially the Lingayats and Vokkaligas till now have been influential communities, and they pull the votes of the other sections of the community as well. At the national level, the BJP has been able to garner the OBC vote on this plank itself, that they have given higher representation to the OBCs. The Prime Minister himself is an OBC, and the proportion of the ministers in the Modi cabinet as well as in state governments is higher for OBCs compared to other Congress governments. This is a plank which may or may not work. We will have to see. However, it will have short-term repercussions for the Karnataka government, and it has come at a time where the 2.5-year rotational chief ministership period, the so-called rotational chief ministership, is going to come somewhere in October, November.
Bhaskar Rao, the concern for the Karnataka BJP is if the OBCs feel sympathetic towards the Congress and consolidate in favor of the grand old party, because ultimately the numbers were made public. This can have a ripple effect and put pressure on the BJP in other states, that Karnataka has shown what the real percentage of OBCs are, and therefore the governments of Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and the others must also do the same.
But this will be true only if the quality of the census is admissible. The Congress party itself is in great crisis whether to accept this report or not. Tomorrow probably the cabinet will be able to take a decision. The Lingayats are unhappy, the Vokkaligas are unhappy. The
no, but the OBCs will be happy. Those whose percentage goes up. So those whose percentage, total new reservations are supposed to be 69%, with the addition of a 10% economically weaker section quota, 79%. So that's a 79% quota. If that happens, there are losers, but there are beneficiaries too.
Let the truth come out. This is not the truth. This is not a true portrayal of what is the picture in Karnataka over there. Let the truth come out over there. Everybody likes to.
So you're dodging my question. Forget this. I'm saying assume that things are the way they are. They are losers like the Vokkaligas and the Lingayats, but there are beneficiaries like the many OBC communities.
That is what I'm trying to tell you. You cannot rub one side and say that I'm portraying you in a positive way over there and then extrapolate what benefits are going to take place over there. This report itself is flawed, and first of all, you have been saying that this is a caste census. It is a constitutional impropriety to call it a caste census. Only the government of India can conduct. This is only a survey, and survey has got a sample. So the sample may be either being extrapolated or sample numbers are being touted around over there. So the entire...
No, but let S. Sivana respond to this. There are so many people, and I want to quickly ask... R.K. Upadhyay, did somebody come to your house for this study? One second, before I go across to the Congress, did somebody come to your house for a study?
Nobody has come.
No, R.K. Upadhyay, you're on mute. Please don't keep muting yourself. Did somebody come to your house for a study? Go on, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you. Yes.
Nobody came to my house or any of the friends that I know of. Nobody has
Okay, you're saying nobody came to you or your friends? Sandeep Shastri, did anybody come to you, your friends, your colony, your locality? Dr. Shastri?
Not in my area at least.
Do you know anyone whose house was surveyed?
Area at least.
Do you know anybody whose house was surveyed, Dr. Shastri?
Not in the layout that I live.
Okay.
Nowhere in Karnataka.
Not in the layout that I live.
Okay, let S. Sivana respond to this. Now, as people, this is just a biased sample, you could say. These are Bangalore boys, go to rural Karnataka. We've spoken to many people, but everybody will have his own anecdotal perception. If everyone or many people together say that nobody came to our house, then what is the credibility of the survey that you've done?
Firstly, I agree with Mr. Bhaskar Rao, and I would state that this is not a caste survey. This is a socio-economic and educational census or a survey. Right? It's not about caste. It's not about the number.
No, is it a survey or is it a census?
1 second.
No, is it a survey? Is it a representative survey or is it a
economic educational survey? 53 questions were proposed to 10.6 million households. That is 5.98 crore people. That is 94% of the Karnataka's population. And one question out of the 54 was about caste. And
no, but you're saying 94% of the population has been surveyed. But forget the guests on the show because that's a biased sample. But everyone who is being spoken to, even including ministers in the Karnataka government, they're saying, no, we don't know anyone who was surveyed. Your own ministers are saying this.
Firstly, let me just give me 2 seconds to reply.
Yes.
Firstly, the purported statistics or recommendations and proposals that you are canvassing on your show, with all due respect, this is strictly confidential. It is only with the possession of the Honorable Chief Minister, the 32 ministers, and the Karnataka Backward Class Commission's chairman. Nobody else. Now the entire ruckus of whether it is scientific or not, let me put forth the information that is available on public domain. One, as I said, 5.98 crore people were surveyed. 1.6 lakh personnel, field personnel were mobilized for this operation. It is the most extensive data gathering effort by any state government. Number 2, 54 parameters. This data, Rahul, was validated by the Indian Institute of Management. And the BEL, Bharat Electronic Limited tech firm, was employed on a 43 crore rupees contract to conduct the entire exercise. Now, are you saying the Indian Institute of Management is wrong for validating the statistics so provided? They came to my house. They came to many houses that we know of. They came to our assemblies. They came to our parliamentary constituencies. It is just our word against yours.
No, it's not my word. I have no word. I am sitting in Delhi. I have no clue. But I know that Shiva Shankarappa, who's the leader of the Congress party, says survey is unscientific. No one came to my house. He's amongst the percentage of people who nobody came. Sandeep Shastri is saying no one came to him. R.K. Upadhyay is saying no one came to him. Of course, Bhaskar Rao is going to say that, but let's discount him. But Sandeep Shastri and R.K. Upadhyay are hardly inimical to your government.
No, I am saying they have come to
his own minister says
I can
nobody
get a dozen of political leaders or MLAs and MPs who claim that they have come to their house. Again, you know, there are certain communities that are upset with the proposed purported result. Yet this information is strictly confidential and it is under official consideration.
So 32 Karnataka ministers have it, by your admission. Nothing that is available to 32 Karnataka ministers is going to remain confidential.
No, see, that is the thing. With all due respect, the statistics that you are claiming on your show is on the basis of leaked information. Why do you rely on this as official communication? Or, you know, the matter is still pending, and as you know, tomorrow it is going to be placed before the cabinet. The cabinet is going to discuss. They will decide whether to make it public or not, whether it must be tabled in the state legislature or not. Let all these things happen. Therefore, any public commentary right now is premature, it is misleading, and there is a potential.
You are arguing more like a lawyer than a... Are you a lawyer by profession, sir, by any chance?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, because you're arguing like a lawyer, less like a politician. The fact is that this is bad news for the Lingayats and the Vokkaliga community, which has been the fulcrum and the core of Karnataka politics. Now, you may be good at law, but in politics, this is bad politics. I mean, this is disastrous for any government that hopes to win again in Karnataka. Forget the legality. How will you deal with the politics?
No, I would deny. See, the Congress has always provided an open platform, and we will, we will engage in a wider consultation with all stakeholders. The Lingayat community, if you claim that they have some inhibitions or reservations with the socio-economic survey, we will address their issues. If the Vokkaligas have some problems, we will address their issues. There are 32 Vokkaliga leaders who, from our very own party, who will voice their reservation tomorrow, if they have any. And it will be dealt with amicably. And
one second. Let me put that question to Sandeep Shastri. You're making it seem very simple. No, sir. He's saying that we can address Vokkaliga and Lingayat concerns amicably. Is that an oxymoron, you think, given the directional trends of percentage coming down for the Vokkaliga and the Lingayats and percentage going up for the OBCs? Sandeep Shastri, do you buy what the Congress spokesperson is saying, or is he just trying to point us towards a mirage?
He's making he's seeking to make a very persuasive statement, but my challenge is, with a very large chunk of Congress MLAs belonging to these two dominant castes, Lingayats and Vokkaligas, would it not be very difficult for the party to be able to convince a majority of its MLAs about this, because they come from communities which are going to be adversely affected by this? Of course, I must use the word alleged report in the light of what the Congress spokesperson said. So I think tomorrow is going to see a battle within the Congress party on how to place this. I think they may say, as somebody said, accept the report but redo the census, the survey, because it was done more than 11 years ago. And that is the way they would try to bring both groups together. But I think it's going to be a huge challenge. The party will not find it easy to be able to deal with this, given the large numbers and the political strength that the MLAs of these two communities, the Lingayats and Vokkaligas, have. So it's not going to be an easy task for any government to be able to take it forward. And history has proved this. Even in the past, when attempts were made to try and take out Lingayats and Vokkaligas from the backward caste lists, the backward caste commissions have suggested it, but then the government has not been able to take that step forward.
Okay, all our guests have spoken. Make no mistake, this is a hornet's nest. It might make good politics for Siddaramaiah, it might be good for Rahul Gandhi's national projection and attempt to woo the OBC communities, but it's going to make life very difficult for this country. I mean, those are the harsh realities. It's very awkward and uneasy to discuss caste so openly on politics, which you kind of, you tiptoe around it. Don't address it head on, especially on live television. But it's the reality that holds and drives our politics. Interesting times. Politically, if you're an analyst and have no skin in the game, interesting times. For Mr. Shiv Kumar, who's on your screen, that's why he has the glasses, he's clearly frowning. Siddaramaiah thinks, okay, try and remove me. I'll unleash this report, and if I do, there will be hell to pay for everyone. Game on in Karnataka. We'll track what happens. Thank you to all my guests for joining us. We had an interesting, insightful conversation.